Hey everybody, welcome to the Homegrown podcast. My name's Colton Templin. This is
Patrick Fairchild.
and this is
Hayden Doerr.
Doerr.
Yeah, I was adopted.
Oh,
my stepdad right after high school. I still didn't know that.
I'm glad you said that.
Exactly. Let's say, I had a different
all over the place.
Yeah,
You've got Hayden Tinker. So, okay, well, awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you do and what you've been up to since last time I saw you, which was 25 years ago.
Yeah, for a child. I guess we kind of met because I was best friends with your brother growing up in middle school. So after high school and everything, I went to audio school called Media Tech. I knew you. So I went to Media Tech, and before I graduated, I was an intern and then was hired. So I worked at Media Tech for, I think, close to 2.5 years after I graduated as a lab tech.
Oh, nice.
So I worked there and, did audio work on the side. I worked at Apple for years. I worked at Apple for 4.5 years. But about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I was really into podcasts, listening all day, every day. And I was just like, man, these podcasts sound terrible. 90% of podcasts sound absolutely just garbage, you can't understand what they're saying. It's super quiet. There's no consistency. And I was like, let me just see if I could reach out to a podcast and then I was like, let me just mix a podcast,
Yeah.
And so I started reaching out, and I got a podcast that wanted me to edit and mix a podcast, and it sounded pretty good.
Nice.
And they were pretty happy with it. And so then I kind of just started slowly shifting my focus away from recording bands and recording music. I've been a lifelong musician my whole life, playing guitar. And so I started shifting away from focusing on that to producing podcasts, or editing at that point, just editing, and mixing. And at the beginning, I didn't know there was loudness standards for different streaming services.
Yeah.
So my podcasts were really loud at the beginning. They were clear, but they shouldn't have been that clear. They shouldn't have been that loud. But I learned, all the ins and outs of all the standards for everything. And then as I started getting more editing clients, I was like, I think I could handle more of the back end role, because you kind of just learned a little bit about it from just the avenues of education you would go about for learning about podcasts anyway.
Right.
So then slowly I started getting more roles in podcasting besides just editing. And then I was just, one of my clients was like, hey, do you know anyone who makes custom music for the intro or outro? And at this time, I've recorded a lot of bands, just music in general. But myself, I'm a metal kid. So, I don't know. I think you might remember that. But so all I'd ever done is just write metal music. I play guitar. But I was like, yeah, let me try something. And I was like, what style do you want? They're like, we want it to be really jazzy. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh
yeah. But I did it, and it came out great. And so I just kind of started offering that as the service I do. And so now I have a decent amount of clients that I've made their intros, their outros, made cool custom transition sounds into the ads. So it's not just a boring whoosh or something, which some of them want a boring whoosh. They don't want anything creative, They
don't want a guitar swell.
Yeah, no, exactly. They don't want chords. I have one that's just a marimba. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I slowly just started doing that. And then when COVID hit, I was I had a day job. I've had a day job this whole time.
Yeah.
And when COVID hit, I was just well, I got laid off, actually. I was like, well, now I have to make it work.
Yeah.
And then I was already doing it maybe 25, 30 hours a week on top of work. So working quite a bit,
Yeah.
But then it became full time. So now I do it all the time. But yeah, and so, every day just looking for new clients, that's a huge thing that I do. I'm always looking for new shows because podcasting people aren't always consistent. You know,
Yeah.
You could have a client for a year, then they're just gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just like, hey, I'm done.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I don't want to do this.
right.
Right.
Or they put a lot of money into it, and after like 3 episodes, they're like, hey, I don't really like this.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
so
I don't want to spend that much money.
right. Yeah, well, that's another thing. Is like it does take
Yeah.
a decent investment. You know,
Oh, yeah.
equipment alone is
Yeah.
a huge part, and so that's kind of another thing that I've done is a lot of consulting. So like I've helped a lot of podcasts start.
Helping them get all their stuff going.
Building studios. I've built studios for a few. What are you called? Like they're like the shared office spaces,
Right.
co-working spaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So a couple of them have like started putting in podcast studios, so like people could go record like a 30-minute podcast in the middle of the day.
Yes.
Which is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Like business model. You know.
It's a huge thing right now. Too.
Yeah.
Podcasts are blowing up.
Yeah.
Well, they have been like working on it, but right now they're really huge.
Yeah, I'm on my childhood friend's little brother's podcast right now.
Yeah, listen to that.
So, like, who lives like 10 houses down apparently. So
Yeah, I
like,
just found that out.
they live like on the same street almost.
Yeah, we'll have to start doing things more often.
Yeah.
I remember as a child going to your house one time,
Yeah.
and you had a little coffin shaped thing,
Yeah.
and it had all of your guitar picks in it.
Yeah.
And you let me pick one, and it was the coolest moment of my whole entire life.
Yeah.
So I just want to, now that I'm grown up, say thank you for that.
No, I feel like, you know what's funny is I was looking for that coffin thing the other day because I was like, I need a new thing to put my picks in, and I was like, there's no way I threw that away. Like, so like I looked through all my guitar stuff, but like I've moved and I have some stuff in storage because I've lived. Me and my sister have a house right now, and so I'm living there, and I don't have like room for like 100% everything. So I think it's in there because that's so funny. So I literally looked for that like a couple days ago.
Yeah, that was like the coolest moment, and I got it was like a glow in the dark alien or something like that. I don't remember, but I was like,
I feel like I
this
remember
is
this
awesome.
moment. I'm not even lying. I feel like I kind of remember this.
Yeah.
We
That's
have
why I
posted our guitar picks for Teddy and Saddle Tramps. Hit us up on Spotify and Apple Music. Quick plug for my band.
No.
Yeah. So my brother told me to ask you about
Here it comes.
a demon cowboy.
Yeah.
So let me get some information on
Break that
Tell
down
me.
for us.
You know,
Tell me about your demon cowboy.
so I think this was probably like 7th or 8th grade. It may have been, it was probably like 7th or, yeah, it was 7th or 8th grade.
This is a good start.
And yeah, so I was really mature. And
You were grown at this
I
point.
wasn't the weird goth kid with long hair, who was like the complete opposite of your brother, but complete
Yeah, it
opposite.
was a weird friend.
It was a weird friend mix. People were like, that's why y'all friends.
Yeah.
No, but then I had like a kid that lived in my neighborhood, and I won't mention his name because I don't think he's a kind of a sketchy person. Obviously from the story, you'll see why. But because he was also like
he might be the demon cowboy.
yeah, you know what? He probably was. He probably is now, for sure.
Yeah.
They're still in talks. And he was a few years older, actually, like 3 or 4 years older. So real cool that he's hanging out with 7th graders, doing
Great
demonic things with them. You
Yeah,
know?
totally. We're just the only people that want to hang out.
Yeah, I have no idea why my mom stopped letting us hang out. To be honest, it was ridiculous. But no, and so we just did like this like Ouija board like thing in my room, and I mean, and he just like started saying like crazy things, and he was like, you know, now there's this demon cowboy here, and I was like, what's this demon cowboy? It's like I feel like that wouldn't be like an old name.
Oh,
You know?
Like, it looks like they call each other cowboy.
Was his name Cowboy?
Yeah.
Or was a cowboy?
You know what? He could be a cowboy demon for sure. That could be his, you know.
Yeah.
You heard like yeehaw and then all the like.
Right.
Exactly. 10-gallon hat.
That would probably be not as scary, to be honest.
Maybe.
I'd be like, it's probably a neighbor.
We're in Texas.
We're in Texas, but no. And so, yeah, his name was Cowboy. And then I told Randall like all about it. And then we were just like, I guess he would like stay the night, and like lights would go
The
on.
cowboy would stay the night, or my brother?
I mean, I don't think Cowboy ever left.
Oh, okay.
So he was there, and Yeah, and so like I had a CD player and music would like just come on. But honestly, I just think that just happened.
Was it like always old country?
No, well, to be honest, I'm pretty sure it was like Leonard Skinner to have Leonard Skinner like greatest hits CD in there.
Oh, that's what
and so I think like literally that would come on like all the time. He would just like start playing it because it was like a 6-disc CD.
I'm sure Cowboy ghosts know everything about.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they have to.
And I just don't even remember everything, but like it was like we would laugh about it, and then something would happen, and then we'd be like, okay, but what was that though? You know, like that was totally Cowboy.
Okay, but it's the middle of winter and we just lost power.
Like, all right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom for a few minutes. I'm scared. We're 12. You know?
The Cowboy.
Yeah, but no, that's really funny. I think I thought about if your brother would be here, if that would come up. Or maybe I didn't think it would at all. I can't remember. But yeah, no, it's really funny.
So you said that you did some music recording, stuff like that. So what did you do? Kind of break that down.
So like we went to the same audio school, so we kind of learned the same things. So working there, like you learn, or working there, as opposed to even just going there, like then you're helping with the students who are recording different things like all the time. So you're just constantly sitting in on sessions and helping and all that. Yeah, when I left, I had bands. I would record myself, our bands, friends. I did hip hop for a while, recording, just like solo artists, bringing beats in and things like that. Then I really kind of started focusing more on my music a little bit and just like friends. But then when podcasting hit like 5 years ago, because I guess I've been doing this like 10 years. Yeah, I went to school when I was 20, so I'm 30 now. So yeah, like 5 years ago is when like I transitioned to like podcasts. So like in the past 5 years, I've only worked with a few artists just because I've been doing so much podcasting and making music for them. But yeah, no, I still work. I still will pick up stuff for people, work with friends. I like to like lay down guitar stuff for people. So I had a friend who like had a song, and so I put down like a guitar solo for it. I don't think he's released it yet. But yeah, so I put down like a cool guitar solo for it because it needed like something in the middle. So yeah, like I still like working with music, and it's still a goal, and I still like think of myself as like a music producer or someone who works with music, but like day to day, like podcasting pays the bills.
Gotcha.
For sure. But I do approach it in a musical sense. Like a lot of like my editing is very mixing oriented. Like I'm using a lot of techniques that like we would both use for mixing music. And it does, I believe, make my podcast sound different.
It's a different angle because going to school at Media Tech, they didn't talk about really podcasting at all, at least when I went.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I graduated, I got a call from the pastor here, and he's like, hey, we're doing a podcast studio.
Yeah.
Come in and do this. I'm like, never done it. Let's do it. And so I looked at it as, mixing vocals almost, just that.
100%. That's how it first.
Yeah. Oh, this is fun and quick.
Yeah.
Especially right out of school, I was like, oh, I still don't know all these things.
Right. No, it's fun and quick. And then but then it's a different set of problems, than when you have with music. And so, and a big part of it comes from like equipment. Cause half of my job is just like fixing bad audio because a lot of the shows I work with, like our hosts have good mics and good setups, but their guests are like talking into a laptop that they've put like 7 feet away from them. Yeah. I've literally like edited interviews where someone was like doing the dishes while they're talking.
Very good.
Like they're being interviewed and they're literally doing the dishes. Yeah. And I'm like, what? Like that's water running. Those are like forks dropping in the sink. like they go outside, like in the garage, and like throw out trash, and like I'm just like,
that just shows that whoever they were interviewing.
Yeah,
it's like they don't care.
No, and so but then you have so many people who will sit outside, which sounds nice, and it's probably really nice for like the vibe and like feeling comfortable. Yeah, but like birds and wind and things like that when you're talking
Apple headphones.
Apple headphones.
Yeah.
Or like they're using, like the wired headphones and then the mic is like in their shirt and then you just,
my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a whole new world for sure. I
right.
had to learn a lot. It's like, okay, think about what we've learned.
Yeah. And then like
How would I
unlearn
work
some
that?
stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That doesn't apply to this.
Right. No, exactly. And,
Yeah.
But no, so coming from music and still working with music, because like I still make music for the shows. So I'm still mixing music and I'm still mastering music. It wouldn't be worth it for me to like send it off to master for, these.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to master, and mastering music for podcast and broadcast in general is different than mastering music for like release, because like podcasts have different loudness standards than music.
Yeah.
So you can't just put like loud music over the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be mastered differently. And so the dynamics have to be completely different because it's going to get squashed differently.
Yeah.
So it's completely different. Making music that's going to be, to content, not just music.
Gotcha.
So that still affects how I mix the podcast.
Yeah. So who's some of the like coolest people you've worked with so far?
Man, so this will sound like really nerdy, but like, so one of the shows I work for, that I have like one of the biggest roles for actually, I produce it, is for a really big, like watch media company. They're like a watch blog, but they're the biggest in the entire world. So like, they're like the biggest like watch news website in the world.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so like it's about like luxury watches a lot, and so we'll have tons of guests. I mean, every week is like a guest from some European luxury brand or something, so like people from like these giant watch brands that you're like at first I'm like, I don't know who this person is, and then I'm doing the research before they come on or something like that, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is like a big name. Like, this is a big dude. Like, I can't pronounce his name, because it's like a French name, but like, I mean, this dude's running like some of the biggest brands in the world, or people from like, the big brands come on. I don't know if like they would like me saying their name,
Yeah.
They're that big.
Well, yeah. You have to like clear it with their people.
Yeah, literally,
their
like
name.
that's part of my job is clearing stuff with them, So like that's like a cool experience, like professionally to do that, is to like talk to these people who are in like these giant like brands.
Yeah.
I will say the coolest guy, and I guess I could like say him, but he came on one of the shows, but his name's Matt Farah from this YouTube channel called The Smoking Tire, and it's a huge YouTube channel where it's cars.
Oh, nice.
So it's like a car channel.
Yeah.
And like people bring him like their crazy modified cars and he drives it with them. But then like that's how I guess the channel started maybe like 10, 15 years ago or whatever. Yeah. But like, I mean, I've been watching him with my friends since high school, like do that. And like he was really into watches and he's friends with the guy who does the show. So he came on the show and, talking to him, I was like, man, I've been watching your content for like 15 years.
That's crazy.
So it's cool, like having people like that.
Yeah. So band-wise, have you worked with any big name artists, or is it mainly just friends?
No, yeah, definitely just friends.
Even at MediaTek?
Yeah. Even MediaTek, like there's always like the stories of like people who've come through, and like when I went to MediaTek, it was first at Dallas Sound Lab.
Oh, okay. They were still there.
Yeah, they were still there, and so like I got to work at those studios, and those studios have like a ton of history.
Oh yeah,
Pantera, Destiny's Child, Stevie, Vaughn, like all that. So, which are three crazy different names that I just dropped. Pantera, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Destiny's Child. But that's where like, like the first studio I ever recorded in was where Writing on the Walls was recorded. Like,
that's crazy.
So like that's the first board, or like actually the board was different, I think, but that was the first room that I ever recorded in.
That's nice. So, yeah, it's cool to say like, oh, I'm in this studio with, that has had these people in it.
Yeah, and the building they're at now, like the old studios that those were before their MediaTek, they have a lot of people, big people there too.
Yeah.
I remember there was like a ludicrous session on one of the computers there. that I went and that we were able to open up and look at.
Yeah. Did you like it?
No. Yeah. It was also, I forgot what song it was, but it was a big song.
Oh, it had already come out.
Yeah. It had already come out. It was a few years old, but it was a huge Ludacris song. Man, I forget which song. But no, we got
to huge Ludacris songs. Probably Get Back, and that's about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, he's got some.
Yeah,
no
the huge for Ludacris.
I'm sorry,
dude. He's the one who reaches out. Yeah, he's the one. Everyone else is like, "No, that's cool." But no, opening up his session was, dope, and getting to see the hundreds of layers of just nonsense that there was.
Yeah,
so many ad-libs and just so much stuff. Yeah.
So what is the biggest pet peeve whenever you're recording music? What is your biggest pet peeve that people do? It just infuriates you.
Infuriating? I mean, one would be trying to play something above your skill level, Yeah. So you, and as a guitar player, you kind of do it a lot where you'll write something that sounds really good, but then to play it clean, takes a lot of practice and focus. So then they'll lay something down that's not clean, and for the sake of the song, you're okay, we need to redo that, and they're well, no, it sounded clean. And you're well, it's got to be perfect, because you can only move electric guitars around so much to make them sync up and stuff. Yeah. So that not being prepared, not having lyrics, or something like that for a part or something, not being. But then again, if you're paying for the time to sit there and write, then that's a different story.
Yeah, I don't care what you do.
But most people aren't doing
that.
Most people aren't doing that.
Can we pause the payment while I write this verse real quick?
And I think during recording, there's not many pet peeves, just because it's not everybody's recorded. Yeah. So someone can be extremely green to that, but be an incredible musician, or the songs are really good. It's just maybe he just has trouble playing to a click track. Okay, we'll get there, hopefully. But the biggest, I think, pet peeves are afterwards, during the mixing, with revisions and stuff like that.
Yeah, hard S's and P's.
Yeah.
And pops that are hard to get rid of.
Yeah, I think, then those types of, those types of edits, but then things that people want, some people in the band want to hear themselves more than the other people, or, just dealing with the requests of how the music sounds. Mm-hmm. So just dealing with those expectations, It's oh, we can't hear the guitars, and you're actually the guitars are the loudest thing I have in there. So
people telling you how to do what what they paid you to do.
Right. And it truly the best compliment you can get as an audio engineer is sounds good. Mm-hmm. If they don't say anything about anything, then that's
you're set.
You're set. I mean, how many times on the radio you're man, that snare sounds. I mean, we do, but how many times in your life have you just been man, that snare sounds great, or that snare is way too loud, or as a musician, maybe you pay attention to those things, but when you're just listening to music, you don't.
Because I'm a drummer for here and in my personal band, so.
Yeah, of course you do. As a guitar player, you hear those things, but also, if you're just listening to music and something in the drums doesn't stand out and you're just grooving, that's good.
Oh, perfect. Great. Yeah. Any Led Zeppelin song ever, you're fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And half of the old songs you can't even hear the drums that well, but you can feel them and the energy's there. So it's
it doesn't matter.
It gets its job done as an instrument. It's great. I think that pet peeves a big time come in the later stages of production, especially with podcasts. I mean, I have pet peeves all day. That's I've already don't do dishes.
Just don't do that. I'm glad I haven't had that happen to me. I will cancel the interview. I'll be listen, you look.
Well, the interview had already happened, so I could I had got it later. So
you look busy or reschedule.
I'll be
you look just as interested as we are. So.
Is there a deadline on those dishes? Do they have to be done by 2, or could you just
before your wife gets home?
Right. Could you just
not get beat or
just talk.
That's what I like about this studio, because I'm with every recording.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll listen to the Zoom call while they're talking beforehand, and I'm hey, can you not be sitting by that window that's open?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. It's and that's make my life easier.
That's a big part of the job, is trying to lay certain expectations for guests before they come on. So, and with my role with different podcasts, I don't get to do that with every person or with every client. So some clients have the people who come on consistently that are just like casual. It's and it's so bad. I mean, like sometimes people will just be in like an all glass, like empty office in a co-working space, and it's just the most echo, the most room tone, and like there are tools to take that out. And you don't really learn about those tools in audio school because you're typically not recording music
in the glass room.
In the glass room, you're not dealing with much room tone, like cancellation. You know, if you're recording in bad environments, but so a lot of the learning I had to do was what tools do I use for like post production in like a non-musical setting. So thankfully there are some really good tools that help you do that. But recording or editing music and editing podcasts have two different pet peeve like lists of things. But
for sure. Sounds like we need to start a podcasting school. Take out media tech.
Just
stiff right hand.
Just like so we strictly work in podcasting. It's actually only a 4-day school.
It's
basically teaching
4-day school.
4 days.
30-minute powwow. Just
30 minutes.
And we still charge $30,000.
It's gonna be $30,000.
4-day event. Give us.
We'll give you a hard drive. We'll give you a free hard drive.
One free hard drive.
If you want to take them online classes, and that's only $500. So
exactly. So, but no, and there are so many like podcasts, like editing, educational like things online. It's absolutely ridiculous.
YouTube can save your life.
Save your life. It can save you a big paycheck, or not paycheck, a big check to pay to learn.
To learn stuff. If I would have known that everything was on YouTube, I wouldn't have paid for media tech.
The one thing that's good about that was the studio.
Being on hands-on and being in stuff like that. I don't enjoy studio work. I'm more of a live sound guy.
You are.
So like going in the studio is like, oh, this is cool because I'm looking at all these plaques that recorded it. I'm like, this is awesome. And I learned a lot, but then it came to sit down and recording, and I'm like, nope.
It's just not, and
too much.
And I was like way more into recording than live sound. But live sound was fun. That was a fun class. Like that was probably the most fun class there.
And I graduated at the beginning of COVID. So my last 2 months of school was all Zoom. So live sound was just, he would come on and be like, hey, here's the YouTube video, y'all can go and watch. We'd watch it and then have to come back and he would discuss what we just watched on YouTube. I'm like, this is the worst.
No, man.
This is not live sound.
My live sound experience was actual live sound.
Like he brought in bands. We didn't even get to have a band in because it happened. Like, I think we had one band come in. And that was it.
We had like one band every couple of weeks. Whatever.
It was sad. That was very upsetting. So is there somebody that you really want to work with? Like, what's your dream band to work with? Or who's your favorite artist?
See,
this one I know is your favorite.
For sure. Like, I mean, I already checked off my bucket list this morning when I got ready for this. So there's that.
We autographed his painting on the other side.
Exactly. I mean, as far as like a dream podcast, I don't know. There's kind of like a dream like role, I guess. Like starting in podcasting, like started watching Joe Rogan when it started, and so like young Jamie, like that was my dream job, was like just to be him, to like run the show and then be there for the conversation in the background. And then anytime somebody wants something pulled up, just to like do that. And I just thought, dude, that's the dream, like to be on the most successful show in the entire world.
The beginning of podcasts.
Right. And then to be able to produce it all, and now they have a crew and stuff, they have a team, but, like, Jamie's the guy,
It's very interesting. I do that for our pastor has a podcast called Rev and Rep. And I sit in there and I have my computer open and I have a camera on me and a mic. And if I ever have to do anything, I get to kind of play that position, and it's a lot of fun, but also it's stressful and like
because you're on, but you're not. You're on.
I have to be aware of what they're talking about because they might not even ask for hey, look that up. You know, it's like,
you just be proactive.
I should find that. You know, like we had a comedian on a couple weeks ago called Carrie Pomeroli.
Oh, okay.
And she said something about her wiki feet page.
Oh, okay.
Like, gotta find this.
Yeah,
you know, sent them the link and they're like, oh, we have it right here. You're ranked number, you know, whatever.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that I love that role. So I don't get to do that role. What's funny is all of my clients right now are all remote. I've actually, out of all my current clients, I haven't met a single one of them in person. So, which is kind of crazy. I work with them every day. And one of them like lives like 11 minutes away. So I don't know why we haven't got coffee or whatever. Yeah, so, you know, like it's a dream. I mean, it's kind of like a cop-out to be like, it'd be my dream to work with Rogan because that's like everybody's.
Yeah, it's like a classic.
The dream, you know. But like I do have like giant podcasts I love, you know, like there's a podcast called Your Mom's House. And it's not the most appropriate show for like everyone to watch, but
sounds hilarious.
It's be very warned before you go watch it. It's very adult content, but their production is like the highest level. And they have a network, and like, so as far as the dream, like their model is 100% like what I would want one day. Like they started a podcast, it got successful, they had a small team, you know, of like people who were producing it, doing the audio, video, everything, and that grew to them doing shows for other people, and then now they literally have like a small like network. They have their studios, and like that's the dream. Like, is to do something like that where you have like a super successful show that's fun and great to work on, or maybe just like in a niche that I love. You know, I would love for the watch show to get huge because I'm starting to really get more into the watch like space, as you can clearly see.
Yeah, you're really into
it. I literally forgot to wear my watch today.
This watch right here, this $15 watch. Walmart right here.
No, my nicest watch is like a G-Shock, so that's okay. But a lot of people in the watch space love G-Shock.
Casino.
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
Casio.
Yeah, they're
Casino. Great movie, though. Great movie. But no, so like I think my dream would be to just like have that set up.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Just to have everything like in-house. And on all the podcasts now are getting like the major ones are getting like the Rogan like warehouse where like they have like their studios there and then they have like their fun space and stuff. So like that setup is the dream, I think, more than like attaching the dream to like a person.
Having a place for people to come to.
Yeah. And it'd be my place. Like it'd just be cool to
this is my place.
Yeah. It'd be, you know, in some manner, whether it's like a brand or something like that. Because like my audio brand is from when I, like my company name is like from when I recorded like metal bands and stuff. And like, I have like a scythe tattooed on the side of my head, like on my neck, you know. And I grew up, my favorite guitar players, like my two favorite guitar players, they had like scythes in like the imagery in their band and their name on their guitars. And so it was always just like my two favorite guitar players, Alexi Lahio and Chuck Schuldiner. They just had like scythes like on everything, you know, like that was like part of their symbol. So like, I don't know, like my audio company's called Scythe Fight Audio, which is a mouthful and it doesn't make any sense. But then in my crazy brain, for some reason I was thinking of the words knife fight.
Knife fight, yeah.
Yeah, knife fight. But then
that flows.
Yeah. But then I was like, let's make it not flow.
Scythe fight.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I had to think about, I was like, okay, I'm going to pronounce this wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. People do all the time. And then like you have to like see the logo and everything for it to like, you see a scythe and you're like, oh, okay, Scythe Fight Audio.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If I'm not lying to you, I didn't know that was the name of that.
No, absolutely.
Until you said it.
Yeah, and it's the name of my Instagram and like everything like that. Yeah.
I didn't realize that that's what the Grim Reaper held.
Yeah.
No idea what that name was.
Yeah.
That was one of those like Children of the Corn things.
Yeah, which are like kind of like the same thing.
It is.
Yeah.
But those are called scythes too? They're both
it's a farming tool.
Yeah. Technically it's
until I graduated from those.
Because he's harvesting souls.
Yeah.
Oh!
Some fighting farmer over here. You know?
I just do pitchfork.
Dude, okay, you know something really funny about this? So I was at a comedy show. I love comedy, so I went to. It was actually to see Christina P. from Your Mom's House in Addison. Just maybe 5 or 6 months ago. It was like one of the first like things back, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I have this scythe like tattooed on the side of my neck, and I'm at the front like with my date, and we're like at the thing, and one of like the waiters or someone who works there just like comes up to me and he goes, "Bro, communism." And I was like, and he like lifted his hand up to like give me a high five, and like everyone, we're in Texas, sir. Everyone looked, and he's just like looking at me, and I'm like, no. And he's like, no, and I was like, Grim Reaper, and he was like, oh, it's not communism. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Why would it be communism?
Why would I just like display that like on my neck? No, I mean,
he was excited about it.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it was loud. He was like had a visceral like, bro, communism. Like, do you have to wait for like a commie homie over here? Like,
the friend of communism.
And I was like, sir, like, also, this isn't. If you are a communist, this isn't how you announce it.
Like, you know,
this is a wrong.
This is the worst coming out party you've ever seen.
Yeah,
I'm never waited another table.
Yeah, like pretty sure you're not gonna get tips tonight. You just
is that communist fella? No.
Like that would have sucked if he was my waiter after that. You know. But no. So, yeah, I don't know how we got on to that.
That's funny. That's great.
Yeah. So
that's a good sidetrack. Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Oh, absolutely.
Go ahead and tell the peoples where they can find you. And
yeah, if you want to find me on Instagram, my @ is Scythe Fight Audio. I'm not gonna lie, I think there's underscores in there. I'm not sure.
I'm sure between each word.
Yeah, I think it's between each word. Yeah, Scythe Fight Audio. Exactly. And you know, I have a website. It's extremely basic. I don't think I've ever gotten a client through it. All of my clients have been word of mouth, or like me just finding them and reaching out. I've been very lucky in essence. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you know what? Don't find me. I'll find you.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding. Actually, please come find me. That'd be great.
That's why he got the site.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the harvester of clients.
Yeah, and well, this has been this has been interesting. We can knock off Demon Cowboys, comedies, and communism.
There we go.
No communists on this side of the table.
No, maybe, but we're not sure.
That guy, I got his number. Let's say that. But
okay, well,
yeah.
Oh,
I'll go to like 11 or 13 meetings.
Just to pick up line.
Yeah, just to see.
Yeah, just to see.
Just I'm not curious, but I'll go.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm a communist.
I've dedicated my life to it, but like I'm not into it. You know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm actually going to be questioned by the police as soon as I leave this studio. So,
all right, well, this
totally
is the Homegrown podcast.
FBI, just kidding. We should have turned off our phones. Before this. But
this has been the Homegrown podcast. Thank you. Go ahead and like down below, subscribe.
Everybody like equally, please.
Yeah. To the 24 subscribers we have and the 3 people that watch this, please like.
Thank you.
Turn that like button into a small ball, put it inside a bigger straw, and spit it at the camera. Y'all have a great day. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Amen.
Oh my gosh.
Just went to 11 or 13 meetings. Just see what I'm like.